remember thinking, this is the lamest shit I've ever seen in my life. Because they're both inebriated, right? He had Tim's on, Timberland boots. He lost his balance on his back foot, and his knee buckled, and he collapsed, and he fell backwards. And he let out this yelp. It's like the secondhand embarrassment that I got watching that.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, yo, I never want that shit to happen to me. So I'm gonna learn how to fight. That's my story, dude.
All right, man. Well, thanks for accepting the invite. I appreciate it.
No problem.
So how we're going to do this is I'm going to ask you a couple of background questions, then some questions regarding your martial arts story, and then we'll wrap up with some questions regarding, advice that you would have for anyone that is interested in doing martial arts. Does that sound good? All right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the first question I got for you, how old are you and where do you call home?
I am 36 years old. I'll be 36 October 7th.
Okay. Happy
Um,
birthday.
Thank you, Rudy. Appreciate it, brother. Where would I call home?
Hmm.
Home to me, honestly, is where I was. I would say where I discovered who I was, and that's, believe it or not, that's actually Bakersfield, California. Yeah, that's where I really discovered. Oh, this is where I want to pursue. This is. I mean, I think that was no. I know that was the location of where I came to realize. No, I'm not like the rest of my family members or my friends that I knew growing up. I'm different, and that place made me accept it and realize who I was, and it'll always be home to me. I don't live there anymore, but I've lived there for a long time, and I would
Oh,
say that's
wow.
home. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. I mean, yeah, well, wow, that's awesome. But so tell me, like, when you're
Yeah.
talking about like you being different from your family, like if you can give me a little more context around it, like what does that mean? Different in what sense, I guess?
Sure, that's not a problem. Yeah, I'm an open book. Pretty much growing up as coming from an immigrant family. We came from Bangladesh. You went to school, you went
Hmm.
to prep school, you went to
Hmm.
after school programs, you did extracurricular activities
Hmm.
to get into an Ivy League. If not an Ivy League, at least a Division One. If not that, something that could get you into a STEM major. That
Hmm.
was just what we did because we were the offspring of immigrants who gave up everything to get here in the early '90s,
Yeah,
and I was no exception.
yeah.
Growing up, it's this is what we did, and it was expected of us, and
I could
I
relate to the similar
yeah,
pressures.
yeah. So I know you do, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it came to it, and taking the path that I did, if you were to tell a 10-year-old me that this was the path that I was going to take, I would
Right.
have never believed you. And a lot of other people probably would have said I was insane. And I got a lot of flack for the path that I chose, a lot.
That takes a lot of bravery to, it seems like there's like this set, as you put it, the set path that your family has for you.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and there is like this sense of obligation out of gratitude to pursue
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
But you decided that you're not going to do that and you're going to be honest to yourself.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah. So this happened in California. So what exactly led to that,
Hmm.
deviation from,
Uh,
what your parents had set for you, and how did you set your own pattern to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do because it aligns with me?
I mean, pretty much how I ended up in California. Is that what you're asking, or?
Well, I mean, if you want to provide some context around that, but what was it like exactly the deciding factor that you took to separate yourself from the path that
Oh,
your parents, your family had for you?
I remember getting ready to graduate high school. Went to John F. Kennedy High School in Patterson, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and I remember it was May of 2006,
Okay.
and my friends and I they were doing like senior cut day or something like that, which it didn't matter to me because like I
Yeah, I
had.
remember that.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, I had a great senior year, so if I wanted to like leave, and my schedule literally ended at 12 o'clock noon,
Yeah.
and the only reason it was 12 is because 12 o'clock was lunch. If I wanted to leave at 11, I could leave at 11. So we decided they decided, hey, let's go watch Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith, and I'm
Okay.
like, all right, yeah, sure, why not? So we're getting ready to go to the mall, Willowbrook Mall. You might have known it.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's where we were headed to. And we remember waiting for the bus, and everybody just starts talking about their future, where they're headed, what they're going to be doing, and every single one of them. And no disrespect to them, they're great people. I try to keep in touch with some of them as much as I can. They
Hmm.
all said the same thing. They're all going to go to college. They're all going to try, get married by the age of 22, have a couple
Wow.
kids, and then settle down in Patterson, probably, which was totally okay. There's nothing wrong with it. And I remember just that didn't sit well with me. You know, I just felt like, damn, there's got to be something more out there. And I got this thought in my head: I got to make it out to California. California, I just feel like is like that's the answer to all my questions if I make it out there. But how am I going to make it out there? I don't know. I mean, this was 2006, and I'm 17-year-old kid who has no idea how to get there. And I mean, there's a will, there's a way. The universe gave me a sign.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
took that and I took it and I ran with it. And if you want to know how what happened, I'll tell you. Just it depends
Yeah,
on how
I
much.
mean, you can share as much as you're comfortable with, and you can stop me if like you
No,
want.
no, no.
But and I respect that. But yeah, like you're saying California. I mean, that sounds very specific. Being in New Jersey, like why California? Why did you believe that that was the place for you? Because you felt like you wanted something different.
Well, I mean, it just happened. I mean, I always wanted to move out to the coast. I always thought California was cool compared to, I never left Patterson, honestly. My family never left Patterson. We
Mhm.
never even went as far as like, I think if we were lucky, we would occasionally, and I mean very, very occasionally, go to like, I don't know, Edison, like, what
That's
is that,
really
right?
going on.
Yeah, that's nothing. And so, do you remember MySpace?
Oh my God, yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I met a girl. I met a girl on MySpace, and she
Oh.
befriended me. And I almost thought it was like a bot. I was like, she's way too beautiful to be my friend. What's going on here? She's messaging me, and I'm like, hold on, where are you from? And she goes, oh, I'm from, California. And before we knew it, we were talking every day. We exchanged phone numbers. We were calling each other on the. It was nuts, and it got to the point where she said, "Look, why don't you come out here? Come out here to California. I'll move in with you. I'll talk to my parents. We'll get this started."
Whoa.
Yes, and we were both the same age too,
How
so
old?
that helped. Well, she had just turned. Well, she was turning 18 soon because she was turning 18 in July, and she was like, "Look, it's your choice if you want to come out here, but I want you to." And I just took it that as a sign, like, look, this might be it. And I remember everyone telling me, like, you're insane, you're an idiot, I can't believe you're doing this. I'm like, I got to do it, I got to do it. And I flew out to California at 17, not knowing what the hell was waiting for me. And I told my family that I was going to pursue life there. And when I got there,
How did they take it?
they were completely against it. Of course, they had no idea. This is their son leaving, their brother leaving, and in many ways, you could say that I left on bad terms, and I did. It's something that I acknowledge today, and but I felt like at the time I needed to do it, and
Hmm.
I'm so glad I did because it really, really shaped me into the person I am today. You
Wow.
know, so I got out there, you know, no job, no plan,
Man,
nothing, not even.
you're a
Yeah.
risk taker. So hold on,
Yeah.
for me to make sure like I'm keeping track of everything. So you're
Mhm.
saying senior year, you had this conversation with your friends, everybody's talking about their future, that doesn't align with you,
Nope.
and you decide to pull the trigger to go to California. Did
Yep.
you graduate high school and then after you graduated, you left? Because you're saying
Yes.
you're 17. So I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make sure, like, okay, did he leave before graduation? Or okay,
No, no, no. I
graduated,
graduated.
then you left.
Yeah. Yeah. I graduated. I left. And, when I got there, it was like the wild, wild west, man. She was great too. She kept her word every step of the way. Her parents, even eventually, like
What was
they,
going through your head as you landed in California, like being so young and just going after this thing in your mind?
I was like, I'm really doing this. This is crazy. And the thing is too is like my story doesn't even end there in terms of like the risks that I've taken in life. It's nuts, man. But I land, you know, and everything is going great. You know, within a few months, I found a job, and
Okay.
life started to happen there. And that was when I first discovered. I remember, so like, this is crazy. So like, the reason why I even pursued martial arts wasn't really the experience didn't happen in California. It actually happened in New York.
Okay.
So, so what happened was I was visiting family
Hmm.
in New Jersey, and
Okay.
we have like a religious holiday called Eid. Eid is basically what we celebrate after fasting for 30 days of Ramadan.
Hmm. Hmm.
And me and my brothers, and a couple of our friends, cousins too, and two of my nephews, in fact, we went out to New York City, right? And we were in Steinway. Hey, doggy. We were in Steinway, right? And those of you who probably hear this, I'm not sure they might know, but if you have ever been on Steinway on Eid, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a madhouse. All
Oh,
these people.
I'm from New York City, so I know.
Mm, you know,
Jesus.
it's like it's a madhouse. They're drinking. They're smoking hookah. And it's such a like a catch 22 because it's like they were fasting for 30 days and now they're drinking and whatever. Anyways, a fight breaks out. A fight naturally, so a fight breaks out, and I remember seeing this. I don't know his name, and you know what? If he listens to this, oh well. But he was like this really tall, skinny. I think he might have been from the same background as me, probably from India, Bangladesh, or Pakistan. I'm not sure, but he had the traditional getup on, and he had gotten into an altercation with another gentleman with another traditional getup on, and I remember thinking, this is the lamest shit I have ever seen in my life because the way how they were throwing hits at one another because they're both inebriated, right?
Right,
And
right,
one
right.
of that same guy, he had Tim's on, Timberland boots, right?
Yeesh.
Yeah, and he tried to throw a kick, and I guess when he threw the kick, the force of his leg went way too high up. He lost his balance on his back foot, and his knee buckled, and he collapsed, and he fell backwards, and he let out this yelp that was I'll never forget it. It was the most. It was like the secondhand embarrassment that I got watching that. I
Yeah.
remember thinking, "Yo, I never want that shit to happen to me. So I'm gonna learn how to fight." That's my story, dude. Like,
Wow.
there's no cool background. I didn't get.
Well, I think that is pretty cool.
No, I mean,
Wow.
it's like it's really like comedy actually, because that's actually the real reason why I decided, maybe I
Damn.
should learn how to fight. So that never ends up happening to me.
Oh
Um,
shit. God. So hold on. So you're at a bar. So how old were you when you were there at that bar?
I was probably 19 at that point. No, no, no. I was 19 at years old at that because this was only
Okay.
2009, 8. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was nuts, man. I was
Oh
just thinking like,
God.
I
Yeah,
never want that to be me. You
man,
know,
I keep on people don't believe, but it's true that like New York City is like a different dimension.
it is, man.
Wow, this
It
shit be
is.
happening there. Oh
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I actually appreciate it. Like, I think that was a pretty cool story because normally it's like trauma, bullying, or
Hmm.
something else. But yours is, I just
No,
want to look that bad when I'm fighting.
if I ever have to get into an altercation, I
Yeah.
don't look like that guy. That was it, man. There's no, I didn't get, assaulted. I didn't get, bullied. There was no PTSD. I
Yeah,
wasn't running
yeah,
from anything. You
yeah.
know, yeah, it's like, yeah, it was like, no, man, I just didn't want to get
Yeah.
embarrassed.
That's funny.
Yeah, that was the only
Funny.
reason, man. So what happened was that image stayed in my mind, like
Yeah.
how helpless that guy looked. And if you're listening to this, that whoever you are, thank you because you kind of catapulted me. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, and now you're a killer, bro.
No, 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 I'm not, man.
Yeah.
I actually, believe it or not, man. To not to go off too off topic, I actually hate fighting. I really do. I I genuinely do not
Really?
like. Yes, I genuinely do not like to punch people or like whenever I like if I ever spar, we've sparred, you know,
Hmm.
So am I allowed to talk about our like
Yeah,
past?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
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 So you were my student at one point.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But it's
yeah,
the funniest thing because like seeing you, I could tell you're so passionate when you were teaching Muay Thai, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
as you're so passionate and like I also seen you like at the gym and you're like working out for a long time and it's just like I think at some point I asked you like what is the balance between and we will get into that but we were talking
Mhm.
about I asked you for advice like what is the balance between jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and you were like I'm probably like not the best person to ask because I didn't really find a balance between both.
I
But
never did.
but so to me, like that passion, I would never see it coming. Like
Mhm.
you don't like fight. Like I thought that I don't know. I feel like to some extent you got to be a little bit like off in the brain to do this kind of stuff. I
Um,
mean, maybe,
maybe.
but like and then like grappling with you. I mean you're a black belt, but like
I, under the guidance of another professional, she told me, take the bridge program and get your RM license. I said, I don't know
mm,
if I really want to. She's like, no, 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 trust me, you get paid more. And this is like the final step. This is great. So I did it. I went to San Joaquin Valley College, which is a trade school, and got in, got my RN. And that is when I started to hate nursing. Like, there's no other way around me saying it. Like, I every day I woke up and I was miserable. I didn't want to go to work.
bro.
I was.
I could relate. I could relate working so hard to have a degree to get into a career. Uh,
Mhm.
and then once you're doing it, you're like, I hate this.
It was the worst, man. I got taken to court. Okay. Yes.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to laugh. What?
No, man. No, no, no.
Why? What
Uh,
happened?
doctor malpractice. Patient's family wanted to sue. I was the nurse on duty. The documentation showed that I was the nurse on duty. I can't devolve too much, but
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
no.
I actually had to appear in court, man. And I remember thinking, why am I doing this? Like I could be doing other stuff. And like I remember my director of nurses one time, my DON as we call it, man, the way how she talked to me, it made me feel so little, so worthless because of the mistake. Apparently, it just made me feel like I wasn't meant for this. And I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I'm not, man. And that day, I remember like something just snapping in my head, thinking, I can't do this, man. And I put in I said, this is my 2 weeks. I'm done. And she goes, if you walk out, you will never work as a nurse again in Bakersfield. I said, that's the point, bitch. And I walk out. Yeah. And I knew at that point, I sealed the deal, man.
Oh my God.
And those of you who know me, probably, I'm sure people will listen to me. They know exactly who I'm talking about. I can't say any names, but yeah, I did that. I went home and I remember panicking, thinking, "Oh my God, what the hell am I gonna do?" And I was already 26 at that point,
Okay.
and my dad passed away when I was 21. So I already did the nursing
Oh,
thing. I got my nursing
yeah.
license. I think, yeah. So he saw me get that accomplishment, but now I figured, let me do something that I really want to do. So I went back to school,
Okay.
and yeah, yeah, I went back to school to DeVry and to pursue IT. And I went to DeVry in Fresno, California. And once I got there, I basically got my degree, pursued it even further, got a master's, and now here I am. I have my IT degree, information sciences. So I work in IT full time, Monday through Friday. Sorry for that long intro, but I just wanted to give it a quick background.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
not
no, that
a
makes sense.
thorough background. Yeah. I
Yeah.
work in IT Monday through Friday, but I
So
still
what
somewhat.
I'm
Yeah, go
curious,
ahead.
what made you want to choose IT? Like going from the transition from like a registered nurse to IT. Why IT?
I always well, I always thought IT was just pretty much the pinnacle of relaxation, I guess you can say. Like
Okay.
it just seems so much less stressful than what I was dealing with. Um, and I just thought that this was probably the better approach for me. And I think if I stayed with this, I'll be much happier than all my colleagues that I saw in nursing who hated their jobs too, but they were just too stuck in the mud to leave. They couldn't leave. They had mortgages. they had a family to support. They were not about to quit their jobs, and maybe I think that's probably what saved me because I had none of that. So
Yeah, it's
yeah.
you had more less risk, so
Hmm.
you had more freedom to really go after whatever you wanted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, um, but I do want to say this though. I actually, so I don't work fully in healthcare anymore. I switched over to mental health. I do work also as a behavioral health technician slash substance abuse counselor. I'm
That's
studying for that to
awesome.
get that certification on the weekends. Yeah, so I do that as well now.
We gotta talk. That is awesome, man. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
cool. So you said you think there's no connection. Well, okay. You
Not
think there's
really.
no connection between what you do and IT, and not even like behavioral counseling either?
No, no. I mean, between IT and that, there's two different fields. You know, like when I switch over to that job on Fridays and Saturdays, I literally turn off my brain from IT
No, but what I'm
to
saying, you don't feel like there's a connection between your profession and martial arts?
mm, in that sense, you can say there is
Mhm.
because if I need a lot of there's a lot of patience that's involved in both. I get angry clients slash users. I get a lot of angry family members or just teenagers who think they know the world and they know more than you and they
Right,
want to
right,
try and
right.
yeah. So that requires a lot of patience, and I don't think I would have had that had I not had an outlet like jujitsu or Muay Thai.
Mm, mm,
You
mm.
know, that in that sense, when you put it that way, yes, I definitely see the correlation there. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. And another question, what do you like to do like when you're not working, when you're not doing martial arts? What are some of the things that some of your hobbies, things that you like
Mm,
to do to like decompress?
you know, it used to be cars. You know, I was bit of a gearhead. It's I think that's my nephew. I apologize if you can hear
That's
them in the
okay.
background.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's
Sorry,
okay. I
guys.
mean, like I can edit it. It's okay, man. No problem.
Oh, thank you so much.
Don't
I
worry.
appreciate it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, let's just timestamp that. So yeah, it's there's cases where I do see that it helps me, in having trained in martial arts and how it
Gotcha.
relates to my current field, my job. Uh, Decompress. Sorry, that was a question.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I was into cars. I used to really be into just American Muscle, and then I had this obsession with JDM, which is like Japanese muscle cars.
Okay.
And for the longest, I've always wanted the Subaru WRX STI. That was my dream car as a kid growing up because I wanted to like get that Hawkeye, the red and black exterior. Loved it. I never knew how to drive stick shift though. That was my problem. Like my older brothers never taught me, so it was like wow, even if I could afford it, how am I going to even drive it?
You have to take lessons to learn how to drive manual, and then
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I did. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I found someone on the internet and I paid him 120 bucks and he taught me how to drive on his Honda Civic SI, which is
Yeah,
stick shift.
yeah.
And the very next day, I remember I ordered the dream car off of Carvana and he got delivered
Oh,
in front of my store. It was nuts, man. And you know what the craziest part was this too? I didn't even own a house at the time. I didn't even have a driveway at the time. I was like, I just want this car. I don't
wow.
care what it takes. I'm going to get this car. It's my dream car. And I found it and I ordered it and they dropped it off in front of me. And I remember, like, I remember my mom just like, what the hell is that? And I was just like, it was, it was madness, bro. It was
Good.
madness. Yeah, man. That's how I got it, and I still have it today. It's paid
Yeah,
off.
yeah,
It's just like
yeah,
now. I mean, I live here now, so that's my
yeah.
driveway. But
Was she surprised
um,
you took off like driving manual? Like, who taught you?
she
Mom.
has no idea.
She,
No, she has no idea what that difference even is. She just sees it
ah,
as like, why do you
okay.
have to work so hard to turn and go fast? I was like, it's the fun part. Yeah,
That is fun.
yeah. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I would say because I mean, I do love driving my car, but I drive it only at night. I drive it late, like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
sometimes when no one else is on the road.
Oh
I'll
man.
drive to Belmar and I'll come back. Yeah.
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 Wow, that's
Hmm.
crazy. I mean, I can't really speak to driving manual like a vehicle. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
I know how to drive like a 18 wheeler, but you're not going fast on that thing. Like, it takes
No.
forever, you know.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like I drove like a motorcycle, and the
Hmm.
motorcycle like, but I was like driving Harleys, and like, but there's nothing like driving manual, like you being able to manipulate the gears and go as
Yeah.
fast as you want or whatever. But I
Well,
can only
um,
imagine on
mhm.
a car, man.
I mean, the motorcycle is pretty much the same thing. You have the clutch,
Yeah,
and you have the shifter, which is just on your left hand side. It's just
yeah,
because
yeah.
I used to have a motorcycle as well. I'm gonna get another one eventually, but
Jeez.
yeah, it's just I don't know, man. I just
Which,
kind of want it all. I don't know, what
which
can I say?
but I love that. That's awesome. Which honestly, like, I don't even know how I even learned. I learned how to drive motorcycle by the grace of God, because I am
Mm,
not even like whatsoever athletic. So
mm,
it took me a lot to like
mm,
get the hand of the clutch, and
mhm.
like they used to like it was like a towel, when
Yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
and it was just like, what? Like, this is overwhelming. This is too much. But I
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
just like so determined that I was like, all right, whatever. Like, I'll figure it out. But
Yeah, yeah.
that I can only imagine, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I gotta get the number from the guy if he's still online to learn how to drive,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. No, no, I'll give it to you. Yeah, it's
Awesome,
an
man.
actual school. Yeah,
Get out. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'll take that number. But okay, and then the other thing that I was gonna ask you, like, what values or principles from your personal life have influenced your martial arts journey, you feel like?
Hmm. One principle I would say that really influenced me was number one, no matter what happens in my personal life, whether I go through a breakup, whether I go through a death in the family, whether I go through the happiest day of my life or the saddest day of my life, go to train. Go train. Doesn't matter. You have to go train. The day I found out, the day I found out I got this job that I really, really tried hard to get. I remember being so elated that I got this job. And I just felt, oh, I deserve it. I deserve to like kind of splurge on myself. I know, make me go watch a movie, get some
Yeah,
popcorn.
yeah,
Nope, I
enjoy
went to
it.
go train. That's it. I went to go train, and the
That's
day,
that's discipline, man.
no, it's just
Commitment.
that was one of my principles. Just train. You have to train, even if it's the best day of your life or the saddest day of your life. Same mindset. Go in there, whether you do well or you're the hammer or you're the nail.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah.
Go train. And I
No,
would train Muay Thai or Jiu Jitsu, sometimes both even, and then
yeah.
I'd go home and
Oh
it's
my goodness.
yeah.
You're a beast, bro. Now,
I did that today actually. Yeah.
you crazy, man. So now, where does that come from? Like, where does this commitment, this discipline to train no matter what happens? Where did that come from?
Mm,
And
oh man.
I mean, if you're okay sharing, it's
No, no, no. I'm stopping because a good friend of mine actually saw me at Quick Check, and he asked me the same exact question. Because I
mm,
remember, like as kids, he was actually bigger than I was, taller than me too, and now it's just like kind of like the opposite. You
mm,
know,
mm.
great guy. He was just like, what makes you do this? Like what drives you? It's like, I mean, I can't even get up out of my couch sometimes, and I honestly think what makes me go is one day this body of mine is going to stop. I'm already broken as it is, man. I have a messed up knee, a messed up back. I broke this bone. I broke my nose. You
Jesus.
know, my elbow has severe, severe tendonitis. Um, Cauliflower ears that I've had drained multiple times. And my vision is probably not the best either. One day, my body is going to stop, and when it stops, I'm going to say, "Damn, I really rode this body to the ground. I'm glad I kind of did that." Because if I go to my grave and my body is still very much well intact, man, did I use it well enough? No. I want to like run this body down, man. I want to get to the point where like, I was fortunate enough to be given a very healthy physique, a very healthy body.
Hmm.
I really think I was because I don't just do jujitsu and Muay Thai. I also train for triathlons. Like I have a road bike, I run and I swim. Also, like it's just I don't I do many multiple things and like I see people. lose their legs. I see patients. I've seen patients in the past at age 32 get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and then they end up having to lose a foot, you know, because
Yeah.
of gangrene. It's I am grateful.
Yeah. I was gonna say it sounds like you work out and you don't uh you don't take a day off in terms of training out of gratitude for being able to have a full body and being able to move about. Uh,
Yeah, movement is a gift. I
yes.
think it is a
Yes,
gift.
I agree. I agree. And and also, I mean, from what I'm hearing, is like you got this element of like, from what I'm gathering, it seems like you like to push the envelope. Like you want to see, like, okay, what am I
Mm.
made of? What can my body do? Like I'm only going to find out by taking it as far as I can. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
at least that's what I'm getting from what you're saying.
yeah, yeah. I found that out when I did my first triathlon. It was just like I really thought I was going to drown in that lake. And I
Wow.
was just like, holy crap! I mean, I was swallowing water. I was getting so tired, and I was like, why am I doing this? And then finally, I remembered, wait a second, I can backstroke, and I just turned around, started backstroking, and it was so much easier because I could relax a little bit more. And then I didn't
Yeah.
care if I was losing the race, but that's just an example.
Right, right.
Uh,
Like you said from everything you've said so far is like you set your mind on something and you go after it and then you figure it out, but you do it. It's not like shoulda,
mhm.
woulda, coulda. You just go for it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Like I always, an example would be like downhill mountain biking. I always thought it was so dangerous, but it was
Like,
so cool,
yeah,
right? It just looks so cool. And
yeah,
so me and two guys, I think you might have even knew one of them. He used to go to Silver Fox.
yeah.
We booked the trip to Mountain Creek,
Okay.
and we went downhill mountain biking,
Man,
and it
no,
was madness,
no.
madness. I
I
bought a mountain bike. Yeah.
crazy. Like I like to push the envelope, but the other day I was sitting with my kids and we were watching a guy that he put a body cam, like a GoPro.
Hmm.
So we
Oh,
were watching the
it,
race as he was doing it. And
mhm.
every time I was watching, I was like, man, fuck that. Like I can't do that. Like they're going like on the edges of the mountain.
Yes.
I was like, bro, if you fall, like you're
Yeah,
dead.
it's a
And
wrap.
I can't do that. Nah.
No, no, no. There's competitions in Peru, I think,
Yeah,
that absolutely make it is like it'll give you anxiety. But I don't know. I just love watching it, man. I love doing it now too.
that is
Yeah.
insane. That is insane.
Yeah.
So now I appreciate you sharing that. So now
Oh,
we're moving to some of the questions I have regarding
yes, please.
martial
Yeah.
arts. So you mentioned that that big fight that you saw in New York City, and being 19, you don't want to look like that guy, trying to kick a fight and ending up on
Oh my.
their back, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So how you mentioned you were 19. So how long from when that happened to when you started doing martial arts? And so far you already mentioned like, you've done jujitsu, you do jujitsu, you do Muay Thai. Uh,
Hmm.
and like which one did you start at first or did you start both? And how did you go? I know I'm throwing a lot of questions,
No,
but
no, no.
and how did you go about like choosing which martial art to start?
I initially wanted to start with karate. It was Goju Ryu. I found a gym close to my apartment in Bakersfield at the time.
Okay.
The instructor was so nice, such a nice man. He was an Olympic gold medalist in Olympic lifting too, so he was legit.
Mm.
He was very, very strong. I remember he looked like Santa Claus. He had like this big white whooshy beard and very nice man. And he told me about what the tuition was, and I was totally on board with it. And I happened to like every. I think this is like every other guy cliche. They're flipping through the channel and they come on UFC and they see what I saw, and I remember it was Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz, the first fight. And I remember I was like, yo, Robbie Lawler, I didn't know either of them at the time. I was like, man, this guy's going to kill Nick Diaz. Nick Diaz is like this skinny, tall dude, and Robbie Lawler was just like this built like a tank dude moving forward, and Nick just KO'd him and with perfect technique, you know. And I just remember thinking, No, it just seems like this looks like it's more practical, I guess. Maybe it looks like it's more fun too. So
Yeah.
I found the gym. Um, Shortly, like the next day, I remember I found another gym. Decided to just drop on by,
Mhm.
and I remember I was in college at the time too. I remember because I was doing a thesis, and I had to pick a subject, and I picked martial arts of all things. Yeah,
Okay.
and I signed up that day, dude, because the first it was jujitsu. Sorry, I had to
Okay.
clarify.
Got
So
me.
it's funny. So the first person I've ever rolled with, I don't know if she'll ever hear this. Her name is Julia Avila. She fights in the UFC now,
Okay.
right?
What?
She, yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to her if she ever listens to this. Um, I remember rolling with her, thinking, "Oh, this is a girl, it should be fine, whatever." Dude, she could have broke my arm if she wanted to. Like, if she wanted to break my arm in half, she could have, and
Gee.
I was just hooked at that point. Like, I need to know what this is. I have to figure this out. And so, shout out to Julia, man, for
Wow.
showing me mercy, not like killing me. Yeah.
But I think that is one thing that also like, gravitated, like attracted me from jujitsu is like, you're talking about that match with Nate Diaz and you're talking about your experience,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but just seeing how like somebody that is much smaller than you in
Mm-hmm.
height and in mass,
Yes.
and how like if they are so proficient at jiu-jitsu, they can mop the floor with you. It's
Yeah.
just like wow, like I want that, you know.
Yeah. That's it.
It's really attracting. So you what made you want to choose? How did you go? Like walk me through that, thought process for choosing the jiu-jitsu school that you started at? Like what made you want to go there?
Uh, Honestly, it was just the price. Nothing. There's
Okay,
no fancy, mythical, magnetism or a
yeah,
pull. It was just the price. I was like, oh, this is
right.
good. I can afford this. I walk in, and it happened to be, one of the best gyms you could have gone to in my town that I was living in.
Got it. Got
And just the environment, the brotherhood or its sisterhood, it just drew me in.
it. The camaraderie.
Yeah, yeah. Like I was like, this is where I need to be. And
Mm.
shortly after that, there was a Muay Thai instructor there too, and I saw someone kick pads correctly for the first time, and hearing that sound of
Ha,
impact between
yeah.
it's like it was like a gunshot going off every time. And I remember thinking, if he kicks someone who was like like say like some loud guy at a bar or something who's just being disruptive, that guy has no idea that shin is coming at his temple or his neck with that kind of force and velocity. That's a wrap. That's a bad night. It's a scary night. And I just
That's
thinking,
a
oh
far
man,
cry from that kick with that Tim, huh?
oh yeah, oh my god. I just remember thinking, wow, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, I signed up shortly after that, and I just kept going ever since, and I never stopped. And I started in 2012. I remember
Wow.
the date now, 2012,
Wow.
and I never stopped.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. And now, like, did you mentioned okay, like the first time you saw jiu-jitsu was in, the UFC fight, and
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
to the gym. Did you had any hesitations, before going into that, jiu-jitsu academy, or did you had any hesitations before doing Muay Thai that kept you at bay for a little bit? Not really.
No, no. The only thing the issue was, like, I was dating a girl at the time who I really appreciated her. She was
Hmm.
an amazing person. She just could never get on board with it. And I remember this is funny because when I got my black belt, I remember saying this when I got my black belt, like I was supposed to marry someone different,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, and she's not here anymore because of my obsession with jujitsu. This is just one of the sacrifices that I had to make in order to get this thing, my
I
black
think
belt.
you mentioned that to me when I asked you, like, how do you find the right balance between jujitsu and Muay Thai? You're like, I don't think I'm the guy to answer that
I'm
question.
not.
And
I'm
you
not
mentioned
honestly.
that.
Yeah, I was crazy, man, and in many ways, I still am very much crazy about this pursuit that I'm in. Um, it's it never left. It's just been reignited every time, and that my thought process was eventually I know I'm gonna have to let her go. And
Mm,
I knew from day one she was not going to stay. And sure enough, she left.
hmm.
And when she left, it was one of the saddest days of my life. And I remember it was very difficult for me to even get out of bed because this was someone that I have known for years. Um, Very supportive of me. That day, I went to go train. That night, excuse me, I had to go train because it doesn't matter if it's the happiest day of your life or the saddest day of your life. Go train. That was one of my principles. You have to train, and I just never stopped. That's been my motto. That's
Wow,
all. Yeah.
that is tough. That is tough, man. Jesus. So there's so many questions with that, but
Yeah. Please feel free to
uh,
ask.
I guess like for you, you having shared that, like, what do you feel have been like your biggest mental and emotional health improvements since starting martial arts, or in this case, like, your biggest challenges in those areas?
Well, I would say one of my biggest challenges in martial arts is probably my lingering injuries. It's just sometimes it's like, yeah, I can perform well on the mat, but am I going to be able to like get out of my car when my back pedal's out? Which has happened to me. Like I couldn't get out of my car.
And you're like
Yeah.
about to go and train?
No, no, no. This was like the following day. Like I had a great night of training. You know, Coming home, shower, sleep, wake up, get ready to go to work, get in my car, drive to work, get to the parking lot. I can't get out of my car. Like
Oh,
it was an actual panic. um, but I eventually I got out, grabbed onto the hood of my car, and someone saw that I was having issues, and I had help.
oh,
But that's just one of the examples I would say, in terms of that. But I mean, I had a lot of benefits too. I don't do anything like I don't smoke. Nothing against anyone who does. I don't smoke weed. I don't drink alcohol. Um, I don't even like. I even stay away from. I would say, even like certain extreme medicine. Like I don't. I try not to take aspirin as much as possible. I mean, if I don't absolutely need to, I won't take it.
gotcha.
Um, I drink apple cider vinegar every day. It's disgusting, but I drink it.
That
Um,
just the
it
smell. Oh my God.
yeah, yeah, it's real bad.
Why? Why do you drink it every day?
It's I can see the benefits. My joints feel better. Like I see clarity within uh, my stomach feels a lot better too. I just
Interesting.
I also eat one time a day. I eat one meal a day. I eat at 9 p.m. So after this, I'm going to eat. Actually, I've been fasting all day, so I'll have like my first and only meal of the day.
Okay, we gotta
So
wrap this up then. We
no,
got
no, 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 no. Listen, like
yeah.
it's all. Listen, I chose this life. Don't feel bad for me. And listen, that's one thing I just want to say. Like everybody who feels like if you're ever cutting weight for a fight or a jujitsu match, which I've done both, don't people shouldn't have to tiptoe around you because you decided to cut weight. You chose this life. Suck it up. Okay. If you wanted to cut down to 155, which I've done before, if you wanted to cut down to 170, which I've also done before, doesn't matter. You chose it. If you don't like the fact that someone else is eating a turkey sandwich in front of you or they're drinking a bottle of Gatorade or something like that, if that triggers you so much, you're in the wrong sport or you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
So please don't feel as though you need to tiptoe around me or anything like that. No, I'm totally fine.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, I guess my question, having what you just shared, like,
Yeah.
what makes you want to keep on coming back to martial arts? Like, given that, you've had, like, you paid a significant price with your, personal relationships with your
Yeah.
loved ones. You've had injuries where you can't even get up the next day to go to work.
Mm.
Like, you seems like you sacrifice a lot. But I guess, like, after I'm hearing this, like, my question is like, well, why does he keep on coming back? I mean, I can only imagine, and I can speak from, like, my personal experience, but like, why do you keep on coming back?
So I'll tell you this. So there are people that I know from both Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu that I've seen them at their worst, and they've seen me at my worst.
Mm,
and we don't even see each other outside of the gym. Okay. I have a bond with a group of people that no one else will ever understand. No running club, no disrespect to running clubs, no golfing club, no hockey, football, baseball. No, nobody will ever understand the kind of bond that I have made with these people. And I have it at two different places. Most people just have it at one, whether it's jiu-jitsu
Mm,
or Muay Thai. I got both.
mm, mm, mm.
It's it's something that I will always cherish. The teachers, the crews, or the instructors in jiu-jitsu, the people that I met, that I've come across. There's so many people that I have met, that I've known over the years because of martial arts. People that I know now that are living in Japan, in Taiwan, in Thailand, in the
Wow.
UK. I'm on a first name basis with them. If I want to live with them over
Mm.
there for a little bit, I can. It's what keeps me going back. It's where I belong. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's that camaraderie, is those personal relationships you've been able to form with
yeah,
other people.
yeah.
Wow, wow.
That's it.
And have you? And I kind of asked this question earlier, but has your martial arts journey influenced your work career in any way other than your inability
Mhm.
to walk from the car to the office?
Oh yeah. Um, no, no. I've been gracious and lucky enough to for it to never affect me at work. There are
Hmm.
people at work that don't even know what I do because I don't really talk about it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't even know. They
Is
have
there a
no idea.
particular reason like why you don't discuss like what you do at work?
I just don't think it's important.
Okay.
It's just what I do. It's my passion. It's not like it's any more important than someone who likes to golf on the weekends or someone who likes to rock climb. No different. I just do what I like to do, and when I go to work, they only know me as the quiet IT guy with glasses and who sometimes trips over his shoes, which happens to me
No
sometimes.
way. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Well, I kind of going back to it just you just came to my mind. Going back to I was asking you like what do you like to do for fun outside of work or martial arts? But I want to call it out like what people don't know is like you have this gift for putting these memes and stories on
Uh,
IG.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, it's
I
really
love
funny.
comedy. Comedy is like always has been that thing, man. 'Cause I feel like there's a certain level, like if you can't laugh at everything, then find something that makes you laugh. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find the most ridiculous stuff online.
Yes,
I'm just like, someone else has got to find this funny, whether it's
yes, you do.
fashion, whether it's politics, whether it's just like, food, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll come across it and I'll post it. And I remember I had a guy message me one time because, dude, like me and my wife were fighting, and then I saw your meme. I
Yeah.
was laughing so hard, I showed her, and we made up. And I was just like,
Wow.
"That's it."
No, for real. There's times where I have like a bad day and I'm like in bed or like I'm in the bathroom and I'm scrolling through IG. Oh man, you got me laughing, bro. Like I'd be dying. You're
Yeah,
great, bro.
yeah,
You
yeah.
go all out like the meme, the music, and everything is really
Oh
fun.
yeah, that's the music has nothing to do with the meme. That's the best part.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll post the most obscene shit with like I don't know, I don't know, some sort of like diabolical meme, and then I'll post one of the most famous love songs of all time with it,
Yeah,
and it's just like
yeah.
what Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Okay, switching gears a little bit, what would you say are the top three personal benefits you've gained from martial arts?
Number one, I would say one of the benefits that I've gained is social networking for sure.
Hmm.
I met a few people that really influenced me in my career. Number two, I'm going to say I really found a good outlet. I have an outlet. It is what it is. Number three, I would say probably the most important thing that I had the benefit of in from martial arts is just reflection. Like when I'm done with it, I drive back home alone and I think about what I've done and what I'm going to do tomorrow and what I'm grateful to do. So
Gotcha, gotcha. And why do you feel like those are important for your life?
I just feel like without it, I would be just lost. Like I wouldn't have an answer to certain things. I would be very quick to lose my sense of control. over certain
Mm,
situations. Like it takes a lot. It takes a lot for me to panic and lose control and get angry. Like the other
mm,
day, like I had a couple basically raise hell at me. I was on a bike and like they were yelling and screaming and cursing, and the husband was like this big dude, and I remember thinking, "Hey, relax, you know, it's
mm.
fine." And I actually slowed down my bike just because they thought I was going to keep riding and like just forget. I stopped. I got off my bike and I walked towards them, and I think that's what probably really like took the guy by surprise.
Oh
And I was
my
like, "Look, I don't mean any harm, and I don't think I'd ever, I would have ever been able to do that had I not,
goodness. Wow.
had the experiences that I have. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's something that I mean I hear often, and I
mhm,
mean I think for me personally, like like I took a break from martial arts, like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai for a couple months, and I
mhm,
honestly like had to talk to my therapist about it. Like I feel like I'm losing my mind without it.
mhm.
Like kind of like how you said, like I don't feel like I wouldn't be able to manage things.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and I was like I was feeling like that. Like I was feeling like I was losing my sanity.
Mhm.
And like you mentioned, like the sense of camaraderie that you can find in martial arts.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like you really can't find that anywhere else. Uh,
Mm. I
in
don't think
any
so.
other sports or what, like you said, like not to talk bad about other sports, but you just can't really compare. Like I've always said, like you can learn so much about a person, you can connect with them so much just in the process of them choking you or you trying to choke them. I don't know what is it, but
Yeah.
like it's so telling,
Yeah.
like somebody you really like, I don't know, because you really when you're grappling, you push yourself to the limit, you know,
Hmm.
and you're really trying to nail somebody and just like you, like you're mentioning like martial arts, like doing these things is what allows me to keep my composure, and it takes a lot for me to lose control.
Yeah.
I think that it makes sense because like seeing you grapple and you're stoic and you're going at it, but like like doing jujitsu is it could be painful. Like it's a lot of pressure. Like you're constantly under pressure, and
Hmm.
just you being able to keep cool. I guess like you're training yourself. What it
Yeah.
sounds like to me for like life after, like when you get out of the academy and say, okay, like I have to keep that same composure, like no matter
Hmm.
what happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Awesome, man. Is there any particular, I mean, and you've been doing, martial arts for a while, but do you feel like there's any particular memory, in martial arts that really shaped the rest of your journey, or it was like a pivotal moment for you, and whether that had an impact on your martial arts journey or your personal journey?
Well, when I started off in jiu-jitsu, there was a good friend of mine. His name was Jason Pollock. He was actually from New Jersey as well. That's how we became friends. We met in California,
Hmm.
and we told each other that, hey, when we get our black belts, he's going to show me how to surf because he was a surfer.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he died in a car collision crash in New Jersey. He was visiting some family and friends, and
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, me too. And he passed away. And every time I got my colored belt, I would go to his Facebook page and I would like, look, bro, I got my belt.
Oh,
I'm still training. So, but like, I mean, not to, like, this is not for brownie points or anything. It's just like, but
no, no,
his
no.
death really catapulted me to get my black belt. Like, no, I gotta finish this shit now, man. You
Mm,
know. So,
mm.
but yeah, Jason Pollock, his passing was definitely one of the most influential moments in my martial arts career. Him and
Got-
another friend as well.
Gotcha.
Actually. Yeah.
So maybe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I'm overreaching, but do you feel like that is also one of the reasons why, like, you feel like you can't take days off, like you have to train no matter what? Because
Mm.
you mentioned gratitude, like other people lose their limbs and you
Yeah.
have your limbs, but maybe, you think about like Jason, like he passed away, he wasn't able
Yeah.
to finish training. You're alive, so you can't take a day off.
Might be. I never really thought of it that way.
I mean,
Jason was
just
a
hearing
gift.
you, like that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, I think I agree. Honestly, Jason was a gifted athlete, man. He was a. I never beat him. By the way, like when we were white belts, he submitted me every time. So
Wow.
it was just like, who knows, you know?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to say, yeah, yeah, I think so.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's the other thing too, like you're one of those few people that I know because, you know, personally, I have not been in martial arts nowhere near as much as you, but like from what I've seen so far, it seems like martial arts has the ability to change somebody, but also has the ability to magnify who somebody is, right? Like I've seen
Yeah.
people that are assholes and just magnifies that asshole aspect of them.
Yeah.
Just makes them
Yeah.
dangerous assholes. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but like you're a person that you're a very humble person, and you're really chill. Um,
Mhm.
but like you really go at it, man.
I
When it
just
comes to training.
I just train because I know that I need to do this, and like I don't do it because I want to be tougher than everyone else. I know I'm not, but I get tapped out all the time. I get beat up all the time in Muay Thai. You know, people will tell you. I just keep going to train. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
That's my only difference.
yeah. So what do you feel are some of like if you can think about three toughest challenges you face in martial arts, um, and how did you
Mm.
overcome them, or if you haven't, like how are you dealing with them?
Well, I would say I already overcame them. Number one was just finding the time to do them both. I was going to make the time to do both. Like even right now, like I'm studying right now for an exam.
Hmm.
Actually, IT cybersecurity exam. I'm finding the time to still train and still study because I want this for myself. I know it's not going to be easy, but I got to make the time to do it. What I
Yeah,
mean by that is I can get on my smartphone right before I go to bed, 10 minutes a night, get some questions out of the way. That will stay in my memory bank for the next day. I can still
mm,
train. I can still go to work and maintain that. So time management was definitely the biggest struggle, but I was able to overcome that.
yeah,
Other than that, I haven't really had anything else. I've been lucky. I don't know. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to
yeah.
keep going.
I
Yeah.
mean, I think you're being humble, but you have a positive attitude. I mean, you mentioned all these from what you're saying, like all these physical injuries, right? Like your back, your knees,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
elbow. Like to me, those sound like challenges, but despite that, you have kept on going. You
Yeah.
know, one thing I've heard, like I was watching on Instagram, there is the ceremony of a person, receiving their black belt.
Yeah. Yeah.
He, in the ceremony, he pulled the samurai sword and he said that, just like a samurai, like people, like in order to make a samurai, it has to go through tremendous amount of heat. It has to get banged, so
Yeah.
many times into shape until finally it is a sword. And he mentioned how like he was drawing the parallels between that process of creating a samurai, right, to become this weapon. And it's a similar process for someone in someone's jiu-jitsu journey.
Mm,
Mentioned like the sacrifices that the person has to make, whether they're
that's true.
personal or
Yeah.
physical. And but despite that, people pursue it because they want to change for the better. you know
Yeah. No, we have a saying. So when you get your white belt, when you start off as a white belt, technically, as the myth would go, you're not supposed to ever get a different color. That white belt is supposed to eventually become black from all the dirt, the blood, the grit,
mm,
and the scarring and the tearing. Eventually, is supposed to look like a black belt when the time you're done. That's essentially, I think, it's a parallel. I would probably say it's that.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
and so I guess, you mentioned there's no, challenges that you're facing now. Uh,
No.
now, you have this determination, and this discipline of like training no matter what.
Yeah.
But like, how do you, if you can draw any parallels, like, how do you feel like martial arts helped you to be more disciplined, more focused, uh, and like continue to develop yourself personally, in your life?
There's a lot of heartbreak in martial arts. You're gonna get hurt. And you're gonna get humbled. And
Mm,
if you can't handle that, life is going to kick you even harder. I don't
Can
know.
you speak a little bit more about that? Like if you can give an example on either one or both,
Okay,
anything that
so
you feel comfortable sharing.
when I train jiu-jitsu, right, for example, there's some of the toughest guys I trained with, like guys that are absolute tanks, and
Mhm.
they should not be allowed to walk amongst normal men. But these guys I train with, it's like they overwhelm me, and I know when they're overwhelmed with their pressure, whether they're in my side control, whether they're in full mount, or they have my back, or something like that. It's like, remember, the pressure is intense, but there's always a chance to reset. Whether you tap, it doesn't matter because you do it again. And kind of like in life, like when your bills are stacking up, and I don't know, you have your mortgage due and your car payments already past due, and it's like, don't worry, you can get through this. You just can't give up. What I mean by that is you got to put in the work too, though. You can't just say, "All right, I'm going to get better at jujitsu. I'm just going to go there." No, you got to drill. You have to train. You have to not miss class. Also, like in life, be disciplined. Don't spend money on stupid shit. Put money aside. Don't be frivolous with it. I mean, sorry. Don't be wasteful with some of your resources. That sort of thing, I would say.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. And I guess the other question I had is like, you already kind of talked about it. Like, how has martial arts helped you manage stress, and facing challenges outside, the academy? But it seems like, well, you just, highlighted it that, somebody can be, on a mound, they can be putting pressure on you.
Yeah.
You think about like, okay, there's a way out though. So,
Yeah.
as long as there's a way out, like it seems like that keeps you from panicking in the moment and just like
Yeah.
the composure, like, okay, if I have to tap out, I'll tap out and then I'll try again.
Yeah. That's exactly what kind of like what I relate to. It's I I also don't I prepare myself not to be in those situations as well, both in life and in jujitsu as well. But that came with time, of course. I
Mm,
learned that. But
mm.
that's what I would say the best way to answer that question, honestly.
Gotcha. And then how do you feel that martial arts has helped you to become more self-aware, more mindful in your everyday life?
Oh, easily. I mean, I'm mindful in the fact that like I know that the surroundings around me are like I'm here because of martial arts. I'm here because I get to train and I get to have this sanity and I get to have this clarity and I get to notice the colors in the trees, the beautiful blue skies, listening to lo-fi music, having my lunch at work or something like that when I used to eat multiple times in the day. It just, I think martial arts really pointed that out for me, made it more obvious. It
Right.
did because when I was done, the only thing I wanted to do was get the hell out of the gym and go outside. You know, yeah,
Gotcha. So
yeah,
it sounds like it made you more appreciative of the everyday thing.
of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So what advice would you give someone who is thinking about starting martial arts but isn't sure if it's right for them?
Do it because it's never going to be right for you if you never do it. Go in, find out what you're made out of.
Uh,
Find out, and also too, it's not a race, it's a marathon. Go slow and steady. You don't have to be like the top dog in the gym. You don't have to be like the best grappler in the mats. You just have to show up. It's not about who's the best, it's about who's left. That's it.
mm. And the other question, that I have for you, and we can wrap this up. What do you think people often misunderstand about martial arts when they're first considering it?
They think it's a bunch of dudes like Chuck Norris and Bruce Lee, and they have like masculine like personalities, and they're walking around and they never smile, and it's like every day is a battle. No, some of the most dangerous motherfuckers you will ever meet in your life look like they have skinny jeans, they wear Vans, they wear scarves in the summer, and they have big glasses, and they're some of the most dangerous people, and they're so nice. In Muay Thai, some of the most nicest people you will never believe, but they are absolute killers. And that's what I think that's the biggest shocker to most people. It's not like the image portrays. Like, how there's the occasional the photo that's always taken. What do the guys always do? Or right, or some shit like this. Like that's
Yeah.
just photos, right?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. In reality, it's just like we're just all like goofballs, man. It's a real fun
Yeah.
environment. Join.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. And is there any advice or anything you want to share that I haven't asked you that you feel like somebody should know?
I'm gonna say this. Look, I came from a family or just a background in general where this kind of stuff is looked down upon, and it was shamed upon.
Mm,
Break the stereotype, guys. It's okay. If you want to do it, you can do it. Man, woman, child, doesn't matter.
yeah, yeah.
Learn. It's your
Awesome,
life. Live it.
awesome, man. Well, I
And that's my
appreciate it,
take.
man. I appreciate it. And sorry I kept you late.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.